Good morning to all. This is Mamta Khanna and welcome to this video of English literature. So today in this video we are going to cover up the literature part, and today particularly I am going to teach you the poem, okay, by the name Geography Lesson. Okay, so this poem is written by Zulfikar Ghosh. Okay, so now let us see what is the poet trying to express through his poem. Now, when the jet sprang into the sky, it was clear why the cities had developed the way it had. Seeing it scale 6 inches to the mile, there seemed an inevitability about what on ground had looked haphazard, unplanned and without style when the jet sprang into the sky. Okay, now see here. What is the poet trying to express? When the jet sprang into the sky, when the jet flew to the sky, it was clear why the cities had developed the way it had. Okay, so now the poet is in the jet. Okay, he is flying above. So now, as he was going to the sky, as he was flying above, he could see that the cities are well planned, and he could clearly understand that why had the cities developed in such a manner. Okay, that why are the cities developed properly. Seeing it scale 6 inches to the mile. Okay, and when it reached to the 6 inches, it could see something more clearly. There seemed an inevitability about what on ground had looked haphazard. Okay, so now when the jet has reached 6 miles, 6 inch to the mile, okay, there you could find that there is something missing on the ground. Actually, missing means there is something haphazard on the ground, inevitability. Okay, that means it cannot be understood clearly that why the cities are so unplanned. Okay, the cities are unplanned and without style. Okay, that means while on the ground everything looked planned and ordered. Okay, but when the jet rose 6 inches to the mile, it seems that the city which looked very developed and planned is no more developed and well planned. Okay, it looks haphazard when the jet sprang into the sky. Okay, that means the cities look haphazard and without any style, without any properly built. Fine? When it happened? When the jet sprang into the sky. Clear? Now, second stanza. When the jet reached 10,000 feet, it was clear why the country had cities where the rivers ran and why the valleys were populated. The logic of geography, that land and water attracted man, was clearly delineated when the jet reached 10,000 feet. Okay. Now see, when the jet reached 10,000 feet, okay, when the jet reached 10,000 feet above the sea level, the poet was able to understand that why the country had cities, okay, where rivers ran. That means he was able to understand that why the people stayed near the river and the seas, okay, and it was then that the poet was able to understand the logic of geography. Now he can understand what is the logic of geography. The logic of geography is that the men are attracted by water and land. Okay, so wherever they find the possibility of water, men migrated and lived in that place. Okay, earlier it could be isolated, afterwards it became populated. Clear? So, when the jet reached 10,000 feet above the sea level, it was clear why the country had cities where the rivers ran. That means where the river ran, the people, they migrated and they raised themselves in that area. Okay? And why the valleys were populated. So, the poet came to know that people, they live in the valleys. Okay? They shift, they migrate and they settle down in the valleys, because in valley it is quite close to the rivers and seas. Clear? Okay. Then now he is also able to understand the logic of geography. What is the logic of geography? That land and water attracted man. Okay? Men are attracted by land and water, and land and water is available in the valleys. So the men they migrated and they established themselves, they settled themselves in the valleys. So, the logic of geography that land and water attracted man was clearly delineated when the jet reached 10,000 feet. So when the when the poet was able to understand this, he was able to understand this when the jet reached 10,000 feet above the sea level. Clear? That means in the beginning, when the jet was it had just sprang, the cities looked very clean and well developed. But when it reached 6 inches above the sea level, then the poet was able to see that the cities which look well planned and developed is no more well planned and developed, rather it is haphazard. Okay? And now when the jet reached 10,000 feet above the sea level, he was able to understand that why people live near the seas. Okay? Means why people live near the rivers. Okay? That means they were living near the seas or river because they could get water or drinking. Okay? That water is the basic need of the human being. Okay? So they live in the valleys. Clear? And when it was clear to them? When the jet reached 10,000 feet. Fine? Okay. Now, third paragraph. When the jet rose 6 miles high, it was clear the earth was round. Okay? Now, when the jet reached even higher, it rose 6 miles above the ground. It was clear the earth was round in shape and that it had more sea than land. And the poet was able to see that it has more sea than land. And the poet was able to understand about it. Okay, the poet was able to understand that the earth was round and that the earth had more seas than land. Clear? But it was difficult to understand that the men on earth found cause to hate each other. Okay, but the poet finds it difficult to understand that what could be the reason that the men on earth, they hate one another. Okay, to build walls across cities and to kill. Okay, now the poet is unable to understand that the earth looks so neat and clean, it looks so good, well developed, fine, everything as it is. But it is very difficult to understand that what is the reason behind that the men, they create barrier among them. Okay, they create barrier among them, that means they build walls in between them. They hate one another. Okay, they hate one another. They don't like to see one another. They are at each other's throat. They want to kill one another. Fine? From that height, it was not clear why. And the poet was not able to understand that what is the reason behind this. Okay? From the great height, everything was clear. Okay, everything was clear that the city which looks so neat, tidy and well planned is not neat, tidy and well planned. Instead, it is haphazard. Okay, when the jet reached 10,000 feet above the sea level, the poet is able to understand that while people live beside the rivers and seas, why do people migrate to the valleys? Okay, what is the reason that the people, they establish themselves in the valleys? Because the land and water attract men. Okay, the poet is able to understand. Now, as the jet rose 6 miles higher, the poet was even able to understand that the earth is round in shape and that the earth has more seas than land. But it was not clear to him, but that even though there is sufficient land, there is sufficient water, yet the men, they are at each other's throat to kill one another, to hate one another. They build walls across the cities. They don't want to see one another. What is the reason behind this hatred is not clear to the poet from the height, from the great height. Fine? So here the poet wants to say that we have got sufficient, everything we have with us. God has given us many things. We have everything. We have to eat and to live. We can live happily, yet we are never satisfied. And what is the reason behind dissatisfied? The poet finds it very difficult to understand. Fine? So here ends the poetry. I hope it is clear to you. Thank you for watching.